So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Friday, the 29th of August. My laptop was lagging heavily with my Discord earlier during the stream, so I decided not to record the stream, and I'm going to record a quick roundup. Maybe this might be a little bit better for everyone instead of recording the whole hour stream and then just doing maybe a 5-10 minute roundup at the end, which is digestible for YouTube and stuff like that. But yeah, in terms of long to short ratio, we still have way more longs in the market. We're getting towards 2-to-1. Which is heavy longs at the moment. In terms of liquidations, we've got some stuff just around the weekly open at 13.6, 13.7, which is interesting. And we've also got some stuff all the way from 107 to 108, very locally. So the liquidity is telling a decent little story. We could stop at 107, 108 around the Q3. Look right here, just on that hotspot. If we gain the weekly open or that 114 liquidity as well, it opens up higher to go all the way up to like 119, where there is more liquidity up near the highs. In general, I think we might see a bounce from 107, 108, but we need to change the trend. And we need to gain the weekly open and that liquidity at 114k to see a little bit of a higher test. So definitely watch out for those liquid pockets. They're looking like that's going to be the range for a little while. And yeah, into the charts, we did just talk about a few things on the charts. So we talked about Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin on the weekly time frame. I mean, we've been talking about this for a little while that when we get this double wick into the combination band sort of structure when it comes in, we always see at least a 15-20% dump, sometimes even 30% from the high. Right now, we've only done about 12%. So 15% would be about 104, 105k, which is again another target if we don't bounce from 107, 108. And then we've also got the weekly low at around 100k, which would be about 19%. So yes, we're looking at those levels. We did say that if we do break 100 or 101k, this weekly low on the weekly time frame, it's very likely that Bitcoin is done for its bull market. If we don't break it, then we've got a good chance that we could come up and retest the highs at 119 where all that liquidity is. Even if we do break it, I still think we've got a good chance of doing that anyway. But yeah, the weekly chart's going to be a big teller in the next few weeks. I think there's a good chance that we have topped out, but it's a bit too early to say. Saying that, it takes 2 to 3 months for Bitcoin to top out anyway, and that's why we're getting ETH and altcoins running quite nicely. I do think ETH still has a little bit of a ways to go. I still do think we get that big altcoin season, that one last one up to here, where a lot of altcoins are going to do nice things. ETH, again, we're getting rejected from the weekly all-time high swing. I do think we could just see a little bit of a lull phase for a couple of weeks while we do retest some levels around here and then go again for another one. In terms of some of the altcoins that we looked at Toshi. That looks good. We talked about Toshi. Where is it? We talked about Toshi looking quite good. We've got obviously June as a decent level down here. We definitely want to hold August and this daily low that we did here. We've also got June that could see a little bit of a bounce, but if we don't gain any of the structure, we might go for a little bit further down into August, March. We talked about Doge potentially looking really good on the weekly time frame. I can see this up at 3233 quite fast. In terms of the local price action, I do think we want to hold 20 cents or this structure from down here. If we just see a little bit more of a low into March and the 4-hour combination band, we're also going to get some bull div on the 4-hour as well. So that could be a decent little long. Filecoin was the big one. We talked about this potentially rejection from the bottom of the structure, and that's what we're getting. I'm looking at the daily on Filecoin. I'm looking at the daily hitting around 373 to 70. Anywhere in there, I think it's going to get a good bounce because we do have some good retail stablecoin demand. Daily divergence. We're also getting to the oversold area of the oscillator. So I think it's going to be a fast move down here and then a bounce back up on Filecoin. I think that's one thing that I'm looking at very nicely. We talked about hype, obviously squeezing into the all-time high. This is looking potentially very good to break out towards $54, $55. Sui again. We're looking at this structure down here about $3 to 2.8 on the Q3. We're potentially looking at getting something on that, and that would also be the daily Stuber. Similar thing with, similar thing with Injective. We've got the structure all the way from the end of July, start of August, that if we do slide a little bit further down, that's going to be the gig along zone. But we could also hold June. We could also hold this low that we did at the start of August as well, to potentially go higher. Sol had a really nice move. We're long from, I think it was 188, 119 around this yearly open. Currently above the weekly open, which is looking quite good. If we do come back down to the previous weekly in the yearly and hold this low on the 4 hour, it's going to be looking good for another potential long trade back up into February and December around 240 pretty much. In terms of the general altcoin market, we're kind of just looking at a little bit of a lull phase, maybe a bit of a dump if Bitcoin decides to go to 100k or 104k. But in general, I think we are looking at a potential alt season. Nothing crazy, maybe 200-300%. But I am still looking at that as the highest probability right now. And yeah, we did look at some other stuff like Link. If it came back down to the yearly open, would be a good long. Render looks potentially quite decent in between 3.3 and 3.15, which is getting quite close. And yeah, it's that time of the year where altcoins are all splintering off from each other and doing different things. Bitcoin's potentially topping out. We're seeing that rotation come in. But yeah, just be patient and yeah, don't be scared out of your altcoin positions or bidding some altcoins. If we do see a little bit of a further drop, that's going to be your chance to get some really, really good entries for potential little pump. And yeah, we could just be seeing the flush out before the big altcoin pump off at the end of the bull market, the big blow off. So yeah, we do have the rate cut decision. That's going to be a big indicator, probably just pricing in some of that stuff. We're going through a little bit of a lull phase in the market, which is to be expected. Nothing crazy. And yeah, we're just still looking to get into some decent longs. We're just waiting to see if we do break down towards that structure at the start of July to retest some of these altcoin levels. But in general, everything still looks fine. ETH Bitcoin still holding. ETH looking pretty decent as well. And yeah, nothing too crazy. I mean, Bitcoin's done a 12% dump, and we haven't really dumped too much off a lot of altcoins. We have dumped a fair amount, but nothing crazy. So I think we are going to see the rotation anyway. Again, we talked about Litecoin as well, around 106 potentially being a decent long. So yeah, that's it for the roundup. We did talk about a lot of other stuff as well, but I can't really remember, and I want to keep these quite short and concise anyway. So that's it for today. Have a good weekend, everyone. And yeah, we'll be back on Monday with the weekly opens. We've also got a monthly open as well. We've got the weekly close, we've got the weekly open, obviously, and the monthly open as well for September. So it's going to be an interesting month next month. It could be a bit of a mixed bag. It could be a bit of a slow, boring week, a dump week. We could have a little bounce week. Sorry, we could have a bounce week, then we could have a dump week, then we could have a slow, boring week. Then it could pick up towards the end of September. Into October, where we might see a nice little alt season. But yeah, enjoy your weekend, touch some grass, and yeah, I'll speak to you guys soon.